Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Night Force, Parth, Wolf Spider, Varma, which is a new character in the G.I. Joe canon in G.I. Joe lore. This was originally meant to be a Night Force troop builder, but they decided to give him a name. So I'm hoping that by giving him a name, he will be included in some future lore stuff, some of the comics or cartoons, would have a video game, whatever. I mean, I just hope that he isn't just a figure sort of thing, and that he does in fact get a little bit more backstory. Let's take a look at the packaging. First up, we get that digital render on the front that we've gotten so used to. That being said, that may change very, very soon. We're gonna get plastic packaging again. I've kind of grown to like this packaging though, so we'll see. But we do get that digital render style art. We do get the full loadout of the accessories that are in the box, and then the art as we have for a while now, with the name on the bottom there, Parth, Wolf Spider, Varma. Really, really cool. We get that blue digital look at the face, number 109. The QR code that will take you to the specialization symbols, I believe. Then on the back, we get the symbols, but a little bit bigger. We get the full call out to the figure. Wolf Spider is 6.2 inches, so pretty average for the G.I. Joe figures these days. You get the call out to his insignia on his shoulder, the Wolf Spider there, presumably. I don't know if that's a wolf spider or not. It's clearly a spider. On the moon, which is a really, really cool logo. I really like that logo a lot. And then the detail of the helmet, and I'm very much looking forward to that helmet. I think the design looks cool, and I think it's got a fun mix of like a Star Wars Rebel pilot helmet and like Top Gun helmets. But we'll see when it get out of the box. Bunch of legalese there, bunch of legalese on the bottom as well. And then we get the full art on the side. And for anybody paying attention, Wolf Spider is number 109 in the series. So let's get this guy out of the box. So here's Wolf Spider out of the box. First impressions. This is a great figure. I'm really, really digging this figure as far as the design goes, as far as the aesthetic goes, stuff like that. I've got a couple nitpicks, a couple little gripes. And I feel as though, you know, the classified line, as strong as it is, there's a few things that have just not been on point recently. Which is not to say that I'm down on the line. I mean, the line is great. The figures are great. What they're doing with the figures is really, really fun. As I said, you know, this Night Force figure, I don't think we're going to get, you know, a standard release, so to speak, of Wolf Spider. I think Night Force is probably the version that we're going to get. And it's a great figure. And the accessories are great too, and we'll get to the accessories in a minute. But, you know, the articulation is what you would expect from Classified at this point. They have gone back to the somewhat sculpted bicep, which I appreciate. I don't like the ones that are sort of lopped off, where it's you know, the bicep is just sort of plugged on, and the top of the bicep is flat and the top of the shoulder is flat. This one is a nicely sculpted one, where the arm, you know, the bicep, or sorry, the shoulder sort of sits within the bicep a little bit. So there's a nice clean look to the sculpt there. The arms with sort of the pads on the elbows look really good, but as soon as you break up the sculpt there, as soon as you bend his elbow, it breaks up that green, which you're not going to notice from the back, but I'm going to know that it's doing it. This is what my big complaint, okay, here are my two big complaints. The shoulder has this weird thing where you totally see that joint and it's kind of sunken in. You can sort of see the gap there. And the gap in the butterfly, its shoulders are really, really tight too. And the butterfly joints, this has been like a thing with classified figures recently, where the butterfly joints are just engineered terribly. As soon as I move this, there's a huge gap. You can see right through, like, to the other side of the torso. And the same is true if I move it forward. You know, if you find a sweet spot, you can kind of cover it up a little bit. But the other thing is the underside of it You see right there? See what I mean? When I rotate this butterfly joint, let me see if I can get it sort of just right. When I rotate this butterfly joint, there's a weird flat surface. So there's like a point that sticks out and it looks awful. Now, when you pose this thing up and you get him sort of holding a weapon or whatever, you're not really going to notice that. But the fact that they can't engineer that out, it drives me crazy because they've done it a bunch of times. I mean, this is figure, what did I say, 109? Yeah, 109. They shouldn't have issues like this anymore. That's like wave one stuff where you adapt and you get better. You shouldn't be running into an issue where there's a huge gap with the butterfly joint at this point. That's just my opinion. As I said, the figure still looks great. Aesthetically, it's really, really nice. I don't know what torso this is. And that's kind of part of the problem, is I think maybe the reuse is somewhat to blame. But this shoulder doesn't fit into this torso. And if this is what they think is supposed to fit, then somebody needs to, like, take a look. Because you can see, like, the whole butterfly joint, there's just a gap on the top too. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't fit. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why that isn't better. It's been better. We've seen better from the classified series, which is why I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It's a great figure. I just wish that they could deal with that, My other sort of minor gripe, the yellow paint. Yellow is a tough one because on camera it probably looks okay. In person, you're painting light over dark, and it looks thin. It looks as though it's painted over a dark color. Most of it is okay, but you see little hints of it. And again, like I said, on camera, it's probably not going to show up, but like this pouch looks like it's a little bit too thin. There's a section on his wrist there that looks like it's a little bit too thin. So it's minor little gripes. And again, on the shelf, it's not going to affect the display ability of this figure. It's not going to, the figure itself isn't going to lose points as far as the character goes for me, as far as the overall design for that kind of thing. That's just that's a design choice that they made that is kind of hard to follow through on. But anyway, as I said, overall, really, really great figure. And I want to see more for this character. As I said before, I do want to see him in the lore and so on and so forth. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, the accessories that come with this are quite cool. So let's take a look at the accessories. Starting off, as we often do, with the backpack. He's got a big old chunky backpack, which is fine. The backpacks don't do a whole lot for me. Some of them are like really, really well done. Others are pretty average. This one's fine. Whatever. The yellow is a little bit, like I said, it's got this thing going on. You can see on this sort of dial on the top here, you can see that the yellow paint app is just not applied quite as well as it could be. Right in between, where this knife sheath is on the side, this paint app, again, it's a little too thin. You get it right there in the light. You can see it's these funny little spots. But altogether, I mean, nice detail, nice sculpt on the backpack. And the backpack does come with an antenna. It should come with a spare antenna because you're probably going to lose it. Although it does plug in pretty nicely. So it should be pretty secure. I'm hoping it's pretty secure. But anyway, there you go. There's his backpack. Not that exciting. Even less exciting, it comes with this string, which is meant to represent rope. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know where I'm going to store this on the figure. It's literally like, craft store kind of a rope. It's they've melted the end, so it's probably not going to fray. But anyway, kind of a funny accessory to include. It's cool that they included it, but I don't know how effective it is as an accessory. We get this knife. which has a nice painted blade. The paint apps on this too are a little bit sloppy, just at the end of the blade where it meets the handle there. Not perfect. Not perfect. Not the worst I've seen, but not perfect. We get a pistol that I believe, have seen multiple times before. I think this goes back all the way to Duke. I'm pretty sure that's the same pistol that Duke has had. We get a shotgun, which we have seen before, just slightly different colors. It is not straight. They never are. And the paint on this as well, little bit sloppy. You can see those little dots, a couple little dots right there. And super loose. Like this end bit actually wasn't attached when I took it out of the little envelope. So beware when you're sort of unloading those little waxed envelopes. I do like the design of this. You know, I do like that it folds up and it's kind of cool. So, you know, cool accessories. The accessories that I'm sort of the most excited about, though, I've left till last. So we get this cool mask, which has what looks like, you know, a sort of digital heads-up display eye. And then the other eye is covered, which makes me think that there's more sort of digital heads-up stuff going on there. Sculpting on this is really nice. Paint apps are pretty basic and fairly sloppy. I don't think the camera's necessarily going to pick it up because it's too tight and it's green to black. But the paint apps are not very crisp on this. They're equally as bad on the other side. You know, there's a hose on here that's painted gray that's pretty sloppy as well. Again, nitpicks. It's still a great figure, but some of these things aren't, you know, it's not ruining, as I said, it's not ruining classified for me or anything like that. It's just that I wish they were a little bit better. We get these night vision goggles that flip down off the helmet. You can see there's a little bit of reflection there because the lens is metallic, and those are painted pretty well. They've done a decent job with that. I don't know, you know, if these are sort of real world or what, but they're cool. A lot of sculpting, a lot of detail on these for such a small piece. And those are going to clip onto the helmet. The helmet looks great. The paint apps are terrible. Again, just sloppiness. The green onto the gray. I don't know if that's, like, I don't know if it's just too hard to see. I don't know if there's too much detail and they asked them to paint things that they shouldn't have asked them to paint because they're too small or something. But the green on this earpiece is fine. It's just that all the green sort of goes onto this gray bit that I believe was not meant to be painted. Because on this side it's not painted, but the green doesn't get all the way up to that thing. So it's just very sloppy. Again, the yellow on this feels really thin. It doesn't, you know, it looks good. You know, that weathered yellow paint looks good, but it looks like a tampo, and it looks like a badly done tampo. It doesn't look like, you know, yellow paint that would have been applied. And it doesn't really match. So it doesn't really match the backpack, which I thought it would, and it doesn't really match the figure, which I also thought it would. It's too light because it's yellow over dark gray, whereas this is yellow over green. They did okay with the yellow over dark gray on the backpack, but didn't apply as much paint on this. Now, maybe that's intentional. Maybe it's not meant to be as dark. Maybe it's not meant to be applied as thick. I don't know. But again, it's not gonna, it's not make or break for the figure, but it's kind of annoying. Those mount on the helmet there, which is cool. The only thing that I don't like is what I'm sort of showing. You can't flip them up. It does, like, it won't stay on, and I don't know if there's too much glue or there's something going on with mine specifically, but these will not flip up. There's not enough space in between the helmet and the little bar that these things attach to. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. There's all these little nitpicks that just kind of add up. You know what I mean? Again, still love the figure, and I still think this is a great figure. It's just how many little things add up to a figure not being what you hoped it would be. Anyway, let me get this guy all geared up and I'll sort of give my final impressions. So there he is, Parth Wolf Spider Varma, a new character in the G.I. Joe lore, a new figure for a character that we've never had before. And as a sort of first entry for this character, I'm a little bit disappointed. You know, all the little nitpicks add up, and I was sort of getting him posed up. This is the pose that I came up with because, to be quite honest, I just wasn't inspired. There's just too many little things that kind of added up. And I had high expectations of this figure. I really wanted this figure to be great. I really wanted this character to get a cool figure. What I will say is if you missed this guy because it's a Walmart exclusive, and I know a lot of people weren't able to actually get one. I know a lot of people put an order in and an order got canceled or whatever. I'll be perfectly honest, you're not missing much. You know, this isn't a character from my childhood, or I mean, this isn't a character from anybody's childhood unless you're a child now. In which case, if you really want this, I hope you get it. But I mean, there's no nostalgia here. There's nothing here that sort of elevates this above the shortcomings. There's nothing that elevates the bad yellow paint, the articulation in the shoulders, the fact that shotgun kind of falls apart. Oh, I forgot to mention, this helmet doesn't fit very well, which is why he's got his mask on. Also, you can't put the mask on and fit the helmet over top. So it's not as though this helmet is ill-fitting because it fits over the mask. It's all these little things that make this figure add up to one that, you know, if you're a completist, I hope you can find it. If you're not a completist, I don't know. I mean, this is a figure that you could pass on, I think. I don't know. I feel bad saying that because there's very few of them in the classified line. You know, and the backpack falls off. Ay, 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 ay. So there you go. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, I think you could skip this one. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss future videos, please hit the bell icon for notifications of future videos. Until next time, bye-bye.